right, here's a fun one. So I got the portal box put back together, and that's ready to install. And I'm going through the Kingpin bearing parts. And so there's a Kingpin sticking out of the top and bottom of the axle tube, and there's a bearing, looks like that. It's a little spherical bearing, goes in the top and bottom of the steering knuckle. And there's a seal that goes in the top, the first part that goes in, and that seals the bearing from the outside world when it gets submerged in water. Obviously, that seal is done. And so this was from the top. The bottom seal was missing completely, and there's some corrosion on that bearing, and it is what it is. It's a $400 set that comes with the seals and the bearings. I don't want to buy that set to get the two seals, so we need to make them. So searching around, trying to find something suitable, I found radiator hose. Now, how do you slice a piece of radiator hose 70 thousandths thick? And of course I wanted to try it before I actually created a video and showed anybody before my lathe blew up. So it didn't. I got a part. I'm going to make another one. I'm using the square end of the new radiator tube and parting it off. So let me show you what I'm doing here. So here we have the radiator tube. That's the end that was cut off, and it's a little ragged, so I'm not going to reuse that end. But I have a clean cut-ish, square-ish, and it's not perfect, but we'll see how this goes. So I've got a little piece of aluminum that I turned down to a little bit bigger than the ID of this tubing. That's there. I made another one. Well, let's see what happens here. When I put that on, and sure, I could cut this off, but I was worried that as I start trying to cut on this, if it moves on this aluminum block, I've kind of got a new problem. So I made another aluminum block. Here somewhere. That was my arbor for taking that seal, put it on, and do the finish knife work to get it cleaned up. But what I do is stuff that into the tail, run live center up into it, just to keep this from working off of that arbor piece. So, all right. This is one of those old flexi hoses that I probably should have thrown away a long time ago. Here it is, and I'm going to try to use it. So let me get set up my measurement here. I'm using a parting blade, good and sharp, should be ready to go. And I'm going to measure to the outside of that edge, the end, and then I'm going to indicate over blade width plus my 70 thousandths and make a cut. I'll show you how that goes. There we go. These weigh real nice until it gets down to the thread. Rougher. Time I got to where it started going crazy. There we go. this time I got a little farther. Yeah, before it starts. Well, let's see how this came out. Oof. Close. You can see I got some trim to do on the inside. Yeah. I think that worked. It's a little thick. Looks, just from the look of it, a little more than 70. Oof, 120. 110. 110. Yeah, well, end wasn't very square, but it's going to get squashed in there anyway. I think it's going to be fine. I don't know what the original dimension was. So I'm going to take this now. A little bit of knife work to do. Put that on the arbor. Back it all the way up. And then run my carpet knife, little Bloody Mary, around that inside edge to clean this up. And we'll see what it looks like. Coming back. All right, here it is, all cleaned up. And that will lay on top of that. Actually on the bottom, this will push up onto the Kingpin, and that will seal between the axle flange and the bearing during submerged water situations. It'll be interesting to see how the grease gets out, because I'm sure it'll get out. When you pack the grease, it comes in from the bottom, and you want grease all up in here. And so you'll pack it until grease starts to extrude out this seal. But hopefully this will retain itself well enough. When it crushes, it'll go, actually this side has little crush areas. It'll crush down in those holes. Will it? Yes, it will. No, it won't. That's the bottom. So it'll crush down like that. Hopefully there's enough resistance. I know there's corrosion on the bottom of that axle shaft, a little pitting. That'll probably help retain this a little bit. I think it's in my favor. All right, let's see how it works.